Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the King's Podcast with your host, G Money, Eugene, aka G Money. And today we're going to talk about money. Today we're going to talk about South Africa. We're going to talk about VAT. We're going to talk about our economy, how everything is going right now as it pertains to how we are performing as a country, as it pertains to the relationships that we have with BRICS, the relationships that we have with USA. The USA relationship is affecting us right now. Ever since Donald Trump became a president, South Africa has been going through a lot. South Africa has been going back and forth with the USA. Our embassy in the USA, our ambassador there, has been kicked out or has been sent packing back to South Africa. So a lot of things are going on right now. So it's affecting our economy. But first of all, I want us to get into the VAT issue because everybody has been talking about VAT ever since mid-Feb, the end of February until March, when the budget speech was postponed in the first place. There was a proposal that the Minister of Finance, the fiscal policy, the people who set the monetary policy, the fiscal policy, everything to do with our money, everything to do with the budget of the nation in terms of different departments. That budget speech that every year in South Africa by end of Feb, you have to get that speech so that we know which department is getting how much and so forth and so forth. So what has happened is that ever since then, there's been contest going on with different members of the GNU, the Government of National Unity. So South Africa has been going through an uncertain climate in terms of politics and economy. So because of the VAT issue, because of the budget that different parties do not agree with, we are at a position where right now we are dealing with uncertainty in terms of where are we going as a country. The VAT issue, the budget issue, and the political situation or relations with the DA and the ANC and other parties within the Government of National Unity. So at this point, I want us to address the VAT issue because majority of people believe that or are convinced that we shouldn't have an increase in VAT for obvious reasons. It affects the poor, it affects the working class, the people who are in business also is going to affect their pricing strategies. If they had a certain pricing strategy with a very slim margin, they are going to deal with issues of VAT, increasing that pricing presentation to the customers. So a lot of people who are in business, they may lose their customers or they may lose potential customers because of the fact that VAT is going to increase and it will adjust the prices that you would put. If you are a business runner, the price that you present to your customer is going to look different when the VAT has been proposed to go and increase at this point. But my point of view when it comes to VAT is that if you look at the country right now, South Africa is the richest country in Africa. But South Africa is also the most volatile country. The most volatile currency is the South African rand. When you look at the South African rand, it is the currency that is up and down a lot. Different things that happen in politics, things that happen in international relations. These are the things that trigger the South African rand to fluctuate and go up and down. And when it goes up and down, it affects our business dealings, our our finances, and investors who are looking to come into South Africa to invest. So going into this VAT issue, and talking about why many people do not want VAT to increase is because they're thinking about their own dollar, their own rand in terms of how much money they are going to spend on food, on electricity, on traveling expenses, every other household expense. So the fact that VAT increases or is proposed to increase by May this year, many people are panicking, many people are already adjusting their finances. So as a result of that, there is a sentiment across South Africa that VAT should not go up. My view on this, ever since this thing has been announced, my view is that VAT must go up. Why must VAT go up? VAT should go up, or I propose or I support the idea of VAT going up because of the fact that if you look at the poor, the poorest of the poorest, the people who are getting 370, the COVID grant, people who are getting pension grant, people who are getting the child support grant or the child grant and and this all the other grants, the grants, the grant in terms of disability and all of those things. People who depend on the government, they expect that money every year. And when there is inflation, things like electricity are going up. The international relations with Donald Trump, that will cause prices to increase. If you are trading with overseas countries, prices are going to increase, and those things will trickle down to the poorest person. And when that person was getting 350 last year, and this year is proposed that they should get 370, only a 20 rand increase, which is $1, $1 US increase in terms of how much money we propose that they get. You can see the situation that they are in. Many things have gone up. You cannot even buy electricity in South Africa in urban areas with 20 rands. So the fact that you only increase these grants with 20 rand and some of them with 60 rands, it means that these people are in a poor condition. And the fact that many people who are waking, many people who are on social media are saying that VAT should not go up. Is this because these people are waking? You guys are waking, you guys are earning a salary, and the fact that you earn a salary right now, that means that you understand and you know the way that this thing is going to affect you. But you already have a base. You are the people who already have a base. I myself am an employed person. I'm employed, I'm working, but I have an understanding, a deeper understanding of finances, in a way that the fact that we as a working class are the ones who are opposing this, we make it seem like we care about the poor. But the matter of the fact is that we care about ourselves. We are looking at our own pockets. We are looking at things that we are going to spend money on, and the fact that VAT will increase those things like your alcohol, things like your meat, things like your luxury goods, your clothing, things of that nature, technological gadgets that we are using on the internet. Those things, when prices increase, they are going to increase. When VAT increases, they are going to increase. So my point of view is that we should look at the poor. Where are they going to get this money? Where will the grant come from? Because it is proposed in our budget, which is close to 2 trillion rands, or almost 600 million US dollars. There's this 2 trillion, 600 billion US dollars, or 2 trillion rands. This is the money that is going to be spent on defense, on healthcare, on infrastructure, service delivery, and also supporting the poor, supporting the children in early development centers or ECD or preschools. People who are the poor of the poorest of the poorest, people who need money from the government, food parcels from the government. Those are the people that, if we don't collect enough tax, if South Africa does not collect enough tax, if this 2 trillion rand budget does not get collected, or we don't collect 80% or more of this money, we are going to suffer. The poor are the ones who are going to suffer. And if the poor cannot suffer, if the government insists on paying this child grant, this government grants for the disability, grants for the COVID social development and social grant, these grants, they are mandatory. So the fact that the government wants to pay these grants will mean that there are other areas within the government that are going to suffer. There are other areas like your roads, like your potholes, many other things are going to suffer. You don't want to have a country where defense systems and defense departments, they are not well taken care of or well financed. So if you have a situation where we have a budget and this budget is not fulfilled, or the income that you expect to receive does not get received, which means that you are going to have a shortage or a deficit in your budget. So as a result, or in a nutshell, what I'm saying is that look at the poor. Look at the fact that this money that they are getting, it's money that comes from you. It's money that comes from your tax, that comes from your pay as you earn tax, your employment tax, so, and your business taxes. But the fact that the government saw it fit that this tax is not enough to cover, it's better we increase this employment tax, and we also increase the VAT, so that we can raise maybe 35 billion, 33 billion here, and this will mean that we have more money available to finance whatever is on that budget. If you still don't get it, or if you still are not convinced, my point is that if you are a household, if you are a father or a mother and you own a house, you have a family, you have your own dependents, look at your dependents the way that the government look at all of us as their dependent. The government has people that depend on them, the elderly, the sick, the people who are in hospitals, the people who are in schools, children, and all of that. Those people depend on the government for finances, and the money to take care of all these things come from taxes, and VAT being one of those taxes. So look at your own budget also. If you have a budget in the previous year, 2024, you had finances, maybe you had 5,000 rand in your pocket, in your budget. The budget that you draw every month is 5,000 rand, and you go into the following year, things have increased, prices have increased, your relations with your boss at work is not going well, things in your economy, people are increasing prices left, right, and center. And when you begin a new year, 2025, your employer still gives you 5,000 rand, but so many things have increased. How are you going to feel? How are you going to maintain your family? How will you maintain your lifestyle if the things that you spent money on last year, you can't even cover that now? This year, things have gone up. This is the same way that it works for the government. The government has a budget, as you have a budget in your family. The budget that the government has is a budget that is as big as 2 trillion. They expect to collect 2 trillion rands every year, and they are going to spend that money the way that the Minister of Finance has said. They are going to spend that money on roads, spend that money on health, spend that money on education, basic education, tertiary education, different things. So the fact that the government saw a gap and they want to increase VAT, I support that. I understand that everybody has a responsibility. You have your own pool of money that you are capable of looking at, you are capable of taking care of. The money that you look after, if it does not increase, you are under pressure. Let's now look at South Africa's GDP. The South African GDP is at around 410 billion US dollars, 410 billion US dollars. In Africa, that is the number one GDP. But if you look at our country, it's chaotic. So many things are going wrong. The political climate is not going right. And if you are a person who goes to government departments, you go to Department of Labor, Department of Health, clinics, sometimes there's no medicine. Sometimes the things that you would expect to get there, they are not there. The government buildings, they are not in great condition. Even if we have a GDP of 400 billion, listen to that, 400 billion GDP per year. That means that our country is able to produce goods and services worth that much of amount of money. But look at our budget. We can produce private, public sector, government-owned entities. The money that we can produce as a country, the GDP, gross domestic product, the amount of money that we produce and the amount of money that is circulating within our economy as a result of economic activity is about 400 billion. But the budget of South Africa, when you look at it, is 600 billion US dollars, or 2 trillion rands. That is the budget that we have as a country in South Africa. That budget is much bigger than our gross domestic product. And if you look at the amount of businesses that are here locally, some of them, they have been given tax credits. Some of them, because we want investors to come to South Africa, those businesses have been given tax credits. Those businesses, some of them, they deal in cash. Some of them are corrupt businesses. They are not paying taxes. So the fact that the South African Revenue Services looks at this situation and they see that they can't afford, or they cannot collect all the money that they are supposed to collect, or the money that they are making is not enough to take care of South Africa. The reason why they've concluded that they must increase this VAT to, to bolster the economy, to bolster the amount of money that they can collect and the amount of money that they can spend on the ordinary person, is the same reason why I support this decision. I support this decision because it puts our country at a place where we can move forward. And if you look at South Africa also, we have debt. We owe millions and millions, billions and billions of dollars to countries outside, but we can't even make that amount of money every single year. So basically, the amount of debt that we have is in trillions also. So in South Africa, the amount of debt that we have every single day, 365 days a year, we are spending about a billion US dollars a day to finance the debt that we have. We owe money to different institutions outside. So the fact that we have this much debt and we have been grey listed at some points, our score in terms of how good are we at paying our debt has been bad. It has been bad. Different rating agencies globally have put our rating down, which means our economy, even though it is the best in the country, it is still not doing well. So next time you think about debating and saying that VAT should not go up because you are thinking about your pocket, you are thinking about your lifestyle, think for a minute about the people who are poor. Think for a minute about your own country, your own country's performance. If you are a business person, understand that when your country does not do well, you don't do well also. Now let's move on, guys. Let me take a break and drink this more fire. I'm talking a lot, but I hope you understand. I hope you understand the reason why I'm doing this, or the reason why my point of view is that VAT must go up. Businesses like this, businesses like One More Fire, this is small businesses. So when a small business is looking for opportunities, they are going to deal with the government. Small businesses will deal with the government, and they have aspirations, they have aspirations to deal with exports, selling their products overseas, selling their products to the US and all of that. And when you are dealing with things of that nature, you have to understand that at the current moment, we don't have good relations with other countries. For example, United States of America, which is one of the biggest countries. The fact that we are in this situation, it just means that we need to be more cognizant of what is going on. We need to understand that when Donald Trump put tariffs on our country because of these things that is going on in the country, our relationships with the US, our relationships with Israel, and all of that, those things affect us. So you must understand that small businesses, they are going to have issues. My parting shot right now, the point that I want to make before I go out is that as a businessman, as a hustler, if you do tenders and you deal with the government, understand that you are not the only person who's going to pay VAT when you buy things. When the government buys things from you, when the government purchases different things from you, they are going to spend VAT. They are going to pay you plus VAT on top of that. Think about that for a second. Until next time, it's your boy, Bayuja, aka GGGG Money. I'm out. Until next time, on the next episode, we're going to discuss different things about finances. See you next time.